around. Today I want to talk about a big topic that I haven't spoken too much about in the past, and it's about dieting and diets, because it is different in calisthenics. Like in calisthenics, diet plays a major role. Sort of, it's of course similar, but it's different compared to just building strength. Because first thing we want to understand is strength is one thing and relative strength is a totally different thing. Strength is how strong are you. That's literally like how much do you bench, what weight can you pull in strength. Relative strength is how strong are you compared to your body weight. And that's different because you can be extremely strong, lift tons of weight. Let's say just the strongman, perfect example. Super strong, insane weights, not normal human beings can lift, but they also weigh insanely much more than a normal human being. They are all above 100 kgs, you know, and that is the difference. So their relative strength might not be that extreme. It's still extreme, but in calisthenics, relative strength is the most important thing, because we're doing everything with our bodies. We want to be strong compared to our normal body weight or our mass. And that's where diet plays a major role. And I've been experiencing it way more in depth now the last 3 months, because I've been on a strict diet plan in order for me to drop weight. Because I've been during a long time eating on a bit surplus, or at least maintaining. And what this allows me is to push my body in strength wise. I could build a lot of strength, not relative body strength, a lot of strength. I could push my body hard, good recovery, high level of energy because I got my carbs. I was in this surplus, so I didn't have to cut down on carbs or protein or anything like that. I got my stats in, and this allows me to build insane strength. But this also meant that I increased in weight a lot, because it wasn't just muscles I built, a lot of muscles, but also some unnecessary weight. Let's call it fat, because probably most of it was. So I jumped up in weight, I became super strong, but my relative strength, my planche performance, my front lever, my freestyle, it suffered a bit. Even if I got a lot of strength, my body weight also increased. But I'm not saying it was wrong, it was probably right, because I gained strength. And the reason then I cut down was to increase my relative body strength. So when I started to lose weight, I did it pretty slow as well, making sure I didn't lose too much muscles in the process, but mainly trying to lose the unnecessary weight, the fat. And when I did that, my relative body strength bumped up. I tried to maintain my strength that I've been gaining through my almost bulking season. And then as my body weight dropped, my relative strength increased. And my performance has been crazy good lately. Crazy good. And this is really what I want to say, especially for people that aren't too comfortable with calisthenics, is that your performance is different compared to your training. So when I'm training, I don't necessarily want to have peak performance, because it's a dangerous place to be in. If you're on a really low intake in calories and you're not fully energized, you have lower potential for recovery if you're not getting all the nutrition you need. But that's the thing, your peak performance is great for competitions and stuff like that, and also periods where you just want to feel powerful. It's good to be on a cut. But if you are looking for long-term results, you want to eat slightly more and build strength. You might not be peak performing, like when it comes to your planche and your skill training, but you're getting stronger. And that's the key element here. And then as soon as you're starting to then cut down, you will increase your relative body strength and get those results. And this, it's different compared to, let's say you come from a gym background. I did that as well. I came from gym background, and in that case, it was always the more I ate, the better I would perform, because it's not about relative strength, it's only about strength. And in that case, more energy, getting fully recovered, increase my total body weight, which just means that the weights I'm actually lifting, the percentage is getting decreased. if I were to weigh 100 kilograms and bench 100 kg, that's just a 1-to-1 ratio. But then if I would increase, let's say, now this is a bit unrealistic for me, but let's say I would weigh 150 kilograms and lift 100 kg, the percentage would be super low. So it's literally the opposite of calisthenics, where the less I weigh, the easier it's gonna be. But in weights, it's the opposite. So for weights, it's always gonna be beneficial, especially when you're building, just fucking eat. That's the thing. But in calisthenics, it's hard, because the more you eat, the more strength you gain. But most likely your performance is gonna be affected as well. It's not gonna be that linear progress. And I've been really like noticing it more now, because I've been super strict with my diet for 3 months, and it worked. Like, I dropped a lot of kilograms, I think 5 kilograms in 3 months roughly, in a pretty steady state. Now it's like if I eat a lot for one day or something, my weight is still pretty similar, which means it's in a good way. I'm not in a sort of bipolar, is that a name for it? I don't know. But it's not where my weight is just jumping all over the place. It's been pretty slow, but down to a steady place where I can maintain now. But I don't have a competition. So here's the thing. For me, it's not gonna be beneficial to be on a low end of calories right now and trying to build. Like, it would be stupid of me to do it, to be super lean and trying to just build, push my body to the limit, because it doesn't make sense to do it. So here's the thing. I'm gonna bump up my calories now, especially targeting slightly more protein, but especially carbs as well, and build. I'm not focusing on my performance. If I'm performing worse than I have done now in the past, it's fine, because most likely I will increase in weight. My relative body strength might not be as high, but I will build strength during this period. I will be able to push my body pretty hard, because I have full potential of recovery if I'm getting everything, and also my sleep and everything, of course. But if we only look on the diet side, it's good for my recovery to eat a bit more, which means I can push my body, build maximum strength. Then when I finally, or when I have a competition in planned, or let's say I'm just feeling that, fuck, it would be nice to have a period where I just feel light, where I can do my skills, where I can be a bit more free in freestyle. I think freestyle is also a different subject, where it's almost always beneficial to be lighter. It definitely is. Like, now lately I've also been flying way more, and in freestyle it's not really that you're building strength, it's more just confidence, muscle to mind connection, and the feeling. And for that you could potentially just always be pretty on the low end with your shredding. But since I'm not only doing freestyle, since I do want to focus more on statics, this build up is going to be beneficial. And then when I have my competition, I can cut down, get my relative body strength up, have peak performance, and then when the competition is over, start with the building phase again. So calisthenics is a lot about phases, and you gotta understand when to build and when to perform, because they are separate compared to gym. So that's what I wanted to tell you guys, and now you're an expert of how this works. Then of course what you eat, the diet, it's pretty similar to other things, like with strength training, with gym training. If you want to be on a deficit, still make sure you get your protein and stuff like that. So in that case it's similar, but when to diet and when to build, that's different. Alrighty, now we're experts here, so let's move on to today's schedule. I'm thinking I'm gonna do a front lever session. I was planning on maybe doing planche because I did freestyle yesterday, but I am so sore in my traps. I don't know why. I almost never get sort of soreness in this way. Of course, back in the days, like when I started gym, I always was sore, but not like this. I haven't had this in many years, so it's weird. I also trained, I did my first backflip on the ground yesterday, which was pretty crazy. We did an outdoor session with a lot of people, and at that point you sort of get into the movement. You get hyped just that other people are doing and, you know, pushing you. So that was pretty nice. Maybe it was from all the backflips. And then I did a 5 kilometer run yesterday as well. And sometimes I feel like I run and I am a bit stiff when I run. That might also be a factor. So I think today I'm gonna do front, because planche, it's harsh. and especially if I'm a bit sore here, the protraction I feel is gonna be a bit off. So I will see you guys inside the gym. Let's start off with front lever touch. Last session when I trained outside, this one was pretty damn solid. Today of course I'm slightly fatigued, but I feel energized, so sometimes that makes up for it. Hopefully it's a solid like 6 to 7 seconds, that would be pretty damn good. But in general, my front lever is always my strongest, so even on weaker days I feel like front I can perform, but planche, oof. If it's a bad day, the planche session is going to be bad. So that's why I choose front lever today as well. Let's do one set and see how I perform. Not longest hold, but pretty right. Felt super strong in the beginning, then my stamina in the touch, it's not the best one, but I'm still happy for being the first set. Then I have 2 more sets to sort of redeem myself and improve the holding time. Let's go, 1 more set. I don't know, I think that was roughly on the same level as the first one. Not worse, not better either. The third set, that's the one. That's the one. In between. I'm not gonna lie, I'm really satisfied with all the reps or all the sets I did. The form is way better than it's been in the past. And then the holds is also like, it's decent. Especially like the first seconds is clean touch. Then of course I dropped down slightly, but the connection is still there. Which is really nice, it's good improvement, and I will take it, definitely. Let's move on to some front lever pull-ups to just normal holds. 4 pull-ups and then a solid hold. Oh my god. I feel fatigue in the abs as well. What the fuck? Haven't had that in ages. I don't know if it was the running or the hardcore sesh yesterday that just killed me. Weird. Or it's something with my water intake or something like that. Maybe magnesium. Haven't taken any supplements now in a few days either. Might be. Combination of everything, but sheesh. My core and traps. Sore as fuck. Let's get it! Ooh. Heavier than usual, but I still feel like it's pretty alright performed. The last one wasn't a clean touch, but the 3 first pull-ups, solid. They're also pretty controlled with full range of motion, so I try to lock out and then pull. So not only working the bent arm, which is slightly easier in my opinion. And at the end of the day, I want to be able to be in a full lockout and then pull. That's the GOAT skill to have. Let's do 1 more set. Maybe we can get 4 touch on that one. Who knows? Last set. Oh, it's so heavy today. I actually feel it in the core first. And then of course my retraction as well feels slightly off, but still, we do what we can, and it's pretty damn good either way. Look at this majestic setup. Now you're probably wondering like, what the fuck, Simon, are you gonna do? Remember that I told you I was gonna switch up one exercise, and that was the one where I did retraction with the parallettes. And it's a good one, but I wanna switch her up right now and just see if I can get even better connection, and especially the progressive overload. The one I did before, it's like the things I did is great, but it's just slightly harder to make it harder, if that makes sense. Whereas things with weights, we can also increase weight. That's like, period. So those exercises, easy to have progressive overload and measure the progress as well. So this is the setup I will do. I will lay flat on my back, have 2 dumbbells. I don't necessarily know which weight I will start with, but I will try it out with 10, see if that's suitable for me, might change afterwards. And then I will do straight arm raises backwards and activate the retraction. That's gonna be the main thing. So simulating sort of the entry of a Victorian on parallettes, I would get up, retract up here. I'm just gonna do reps for now, but something could add in the future as well is gonna be holds in this upper position, which is also gonna be great. Or combine them, do reps, and then the last one could be a max hold, for example, if I would like to go to failure. But let's start off with some reps. I'm trying 10 kg for the first set, and then we will adjust if it's not the right one for me. And the build up is I can have straight arms, if that makes sense. Something like here. Oh, might be too heavy. Yeah, I'm gonna switch it to slightly easier. The first part is fine, but I really wanna get the retraction solid. So I think I will drop down to 8 kg, still do 10 reps, but making sure I can get that last part full range of motion. Let's do it with 8 kg instead. I think the connection is gonna be better. It's always, especially since it's the first time I do this in a long time now, I rather just wanna do it lighter weights, but really get the connection and the feeling for the exercise. And then we can bump up the weights as I get more comfortable. Yeah, that is better. That is good. Could probably do it even slightly shorter or more controlled, like the actual reps, because I have a few more in reserve if I do it in this pace. Let's change that for the last one, but otherwise I think the weight of 8 kg is pretty good right now. Last set. Oh, the holds, fuck, they take a lot. Might actually add that as a thing for next session. Just doing max hold at the end of each set because they are targeting good. Let's move on to some weighted chin-ups. 40 kilograms on the belt. Aiming for 8 reps. Feel the core here as well. I ate pretty good ones. Slightly stronger actually in chin-ups than pull-ups. My 1 rep max in chin-ups is higher than for the pull-ups. Let's do one more set. Maybe 8 in a row without like this sort of pause with one swing. Could be doable. No, maybe that was 9. Lost count. But it's all right. Good pace. Let's do the last set as a back shot. That was freaking heavy. Not gonna lie, that was a pretty damn good workout. And I'm pretty excited for tomorrow as well. I hope my soreness and fatigue is going away to tomorrow since Maltese. I need my power for it. But I hold my thumbs and hopefully I will have the energy tomorrow. See you guys then. You know these days where you have muscle soreness? The first day it's pretty shit. But the second day, it's worse. Like, it's even worse. I don't know why that's the case, but it always seemed to be. And that's exactly what I'm experiencing right now. Yesterday it was bad. Like, I felt the traps, I felt the core. I was hoping it was gonna be better, but fuck no. It was following the same rule, that the second day is always the worst. And today I'm experiencing it. It's just so bad. Like, my traps, super stiff. My core, doesn't matter really which position I'm in. It just feels bad. But let's see how it affects my workout. Usually when you get some blood flow warmed up and everything, it's slightly better, but not always the case. So let's start off with some Maltese holds and just see where I am at, to be honest. If it's too bad, we switch it up so I can still perform everything, just make it slightly easier. Nope. Impossible. Let's take a thicker band and just do 3 sets with that instead, because it's impossible to perform today. It's fucked. It's so fucked. I got myself the thicker band. Same one as I do during deload. Hopefully it's gonna help me to increase the holds. Slightly better, but fuck, my body is sore. Insane. I'm gonna do 2 more sets in total. I also want to remind you that something I really think about on days like this, now it's been occurring from time to time, but so I'm getting used to it. But during bad sessions, really think about the form and how you're performing it. Like now especially, I always look after how my temp is looking, because when I'm tired, the case might be that I'm compensating in a weird way that I usually wouldn't do. And that's where the chance of injury is getting higher. So on bad sessions, I always make sure to just rewatch my techniques and form slightly more, to just make sure I'm doing the same thing as I usually would, since my connection is worse, since the sort of body soreness is restricting me in some ways. And just having that in mind, because the chance of injury is it's not necessarily higher because you're a bit tired, but it's higher when you're compensating and doing it slightly different compared to usual, because then you're in positions that your body usually isn't performing and isn't that strong in. So that's the case. But it's 2 more, do 2 more. Last set was pretty good form, had locked arms, or the lean, the retraction pretty alright, connected the core, so not too bad. But one example with this, where I could compensate, is if I were to start having my bum really high up and forming the wrong connection, putting way more strain on my shoulders than I usually would.
If that would be the case, then I would know that fuck, this is not where I usually would, and my shoulders are they're gonna take the hit for it. Glad that this wasn't the case now, so we can continue, but if it were to be, I would change it. Let's stop talking and get to work. Pretty alright. One last set. I checked the footage from the last one, and only thing I need to think about is getting my sort of legs slightly higher up. Not that it's bad for chance of injury, but just for technique wise, they are a bit too much downward, so preferably I want to have them higher up just to actually be in the full Maltese. Because that's at the end of the day what I'm really striving for, you know, improving my Maltese. And that includes doing the right form. So legs slightly higher up, putting that, being in a straight line basically. Now it's just that my shoulders are pretty alright, but my bum is a bit too much up and legs pointing downwards, so just press the hips down and really squeezing the butt. It's not that I can't do it, it's just that I need to think about it. So that's the plan for the last set. Oh yeah. My body is telling me to move on because it is damn sore. Let's move on to full planche supinated holds. I switch that back to the lighter band that I usually do, because this should be easier, still heavy, but definitely easier than Maltese. Oh, the traps here, what the fuck? It's literally this movement right here, the protraction I'm feeling the most. Sheesh. Like it's not really painful in the sense that it feels bad, it just feels that I'm really sore. I'm gonna check how many seconds that was. If it's less than 5, I'm not gonna do it, then I'm gonna switch up to the thicker band. But if it's about 5, I think I can push it for the 2 more sets. It was pretty much exactly 5 seconds, but I think we can do better, so I'm sticking with this band. I need a drop though to perform. That was alright. Definitely not my best hold, but I've done worse as well. Last set, static song on. Whoa. That's alright. The music definitely gave me a few extra seconds, which is always nice. You find my playlist in the description if you're ever searching for some banging music for your planche or front lever trainings. Let's move on. Done with these for today. And also, if you ever need equipment, resistance band, these bars or anything I use in my front lever sessions, code Simon will always give you 10% off on all coordination stuff. So as long as you remember my name, you're good. You are good. It's time for an exercise I started doing last session, and that's the pronated straight arm raises. I'm sticking with the 12.5, so same weight. Number 1 is because I'm sore as fuck. And the other thing is that I've only done 1 session with these. Progressive overload isn't necessarily every session, it's more like every 1 to 2 weeks. I bump up the weights, but definitely not one workout to another one. So let's just get slightly more comfortable before we push it. Feels good. A bit weird at the same time as well. Like uncomfortable movement from my body, but good as well. So definitely something I'm gonna continue to do. Ooh, nice. Now I try to sort of push the weight straight up and not necessarily like inwards towards the center of my body, but trying to push them just straight up. More like a Maltese press would be, where the hands wouldn't slip in this direction, but still a straight line. It felt better in some sense. It felt more similar in a Maltese, because as soon as I start getting here, we're not in the wide position, we're not as open with the chest, so I think staying out here is going to be more beneficial. That's the fear for now though. I haven't done it before, so I guess we'll see how much I benefit from doing it. Let's do one more set. Last one. Should I try with the pinky finger like under here as well? Like the Maltese hold? Maybe worth a try. Nope, it's restricting. Too much pressure on it. Obviously, it's not going to be perfectly simulating. With the hands, it's a bit harder. One thing is the angle of my wrist. It's not going to be the same. Therefore, this puts way more pressure now on the pinky. So when I held it like the Maltese, the pinky is restricted. It's just painful because the weight, the pressure of the weights can be there, which is not necessarily going to be the case in the real Maltese, where the pressure is mainly in between the thumb. Therefore, I think it's more worth it just to grab the bar like it is. But the one thing it's really good though at is that protraction part and sort of the straight arm and shoulder connection. That's the main thing. Then the pressure in the hand is way different, but this part feels good. Last up is weighted dips. Let's try 80 kg, see if I can perform 8 reps. If not, I'll drop the weight, but let's start off where I usually, or let's start off with what I usually have. It's doable. Not my fastest reps, but controlled. Let's do another set. Ew. A lot of time and attention. Makes it slightly harder, but at the same time I couldn't do faster because just not energized enough. Weird dilemma. That's it. 80 kg squat. That's almost more impressive for being a calisthenics athlete. Let's go. It's getting slower and slower, but that was the final set, so pretty damn good considering me being sore as fuck today. Let's see if we have some focus. Looks to be alright. Well, how do we actually sum this workout up? I'm pretty satisfied though, like I completed everything. Then of course I had to reduce the intensity on the first things like the Maltese. But considering me being really fucked up, I haven't felt this in a long time. Like this soreness, you know the first time you went to the gym, you started to hit the weights, you could feel the body for like 4 or 5 days. That type of feeling is exactly what I have. And what's frustrating is I don't know what I have done different. Because there has to be something different. Because if I just do everything the same as always, nothing should really happen. But I have done something, or in a weird sequence, or maybe combination with something that I haven't eaten. Maybe I'm lacking magnesium or something for that period. Maybe I got dehydrated, and then maybe that affected. I don't know, and that's what's frustrating. But considering it was that shit, or my body is that bad today, it was pretty alright. And yesterday's workout was also pretty decent, to be honest. So in general, I'm happy. We're gonna have these days and just pushing through. Builds mentality. I guess that's a good thing as well. Because if I would have had this workout, let's say 1 or 2 years ago, I would have handled it differently. I would feel way more frustrated about it, but now I just accepted it to some degree, and then it's like I do the best I can with it. And having these ones from time to time sort of puts you back on track and makes you appreciate the good workouts. It's not always bad to have these days where you're not fully functional. But let's do some flexing, because I do believe we have some alright pump. I am also trying to eat slightly more now, not being on a deficit anymore, at least maintain almost slightly surplus on calories since I'm building right now and training pretty hard. I don't want to be lacking on the dieting part. But it's hard. Like a few months ago I could eat insane amounts of food. But now it's like I eat one meal, I feel full. I didn't do that back in the days. I could just eat and eat, and the calories would of course be way higher because I had the appetite for it. But now I'm full, roughly at about 2,000, 2,500 calories per day, because that's what I've been eating for past at least 2 months. And it changed a lot. I've never been on this strict of a diet, and I think it was really good for me as well to just see how my body reacted to it, because now anytime I do it again, I sort of have a better understanding of how long it takes, how hard it is to perform, how my body reacts, how my training is affected, how my results are shown, and all of these stuff. So it's really good for me, and just to learn my body and how it reacts to it. And as I mentioned in the previous video, I am building a calisthenics masterclass that is going to be free for everyone to join. And my goal is to just blast as much information about calisthenics, about routines, about specific skills, like the ones I'm training today as well, and just in general put a lot of knowledge there for everyone to gather. So even if you're not in need of everything, you will go in there and you're just gonna have a lot of knowledge and find answers to most of your questions. And that's my goal, to just have this platform where everything is stored, if that makes sense. So that is coming up pretty damn soon, and like I mentioned, it's gonna be free for everyone to join. So there's literally no reason not to go in there. It's also gonna be able to communicate, chat with each other, chat with me as well. So if you have some other questions specific you want me to answer, I will be in the chat there as well. So a lot of good stuff. But that is coming real soon, and I'm always gonna keep you guys updated about it. But no more talking. I will see you guys in the next one. Choo-choo!